America is not great because America is great. America is great because the black, the Hispanic, and Native American Indian, you make it great. You
Right.
make the Chinese stores great.
Right.
You make the African stores great.
Right.
You make the fashion industry. Blacks are the ones who make it great.
Right.
Mexicans make it great. Nike would not be Nike without black people.
Right.
Right? I remember when K-Swiss was around. That those shoes K-Swiss, everybody used to wear K-Swiss. They were the #1 shoe out there, the K-Swiss.
Right.
We all used to wear them. Man, they used to sell probably millions. You know what I mean? But now it's Nike, now it's this, now it's that. Why? Because we go out there, we purchase it, we bring that market. We're the strong market out there. Mexicans make like for baseball games, who goes to the baseball games?
Right.
We go to the baseball games. We bring that money in. We make them millionaires, man.
Right.
We're the ones who make America work. Without us, America would be nothing.
Right.
America would be, a third world country, I'm going to say, because, white people don't buy that much.
Right.
You look at white people, they dress poorly.
So, like, if I could real quick, white people are actually the ones that shop the less around Christmas time.
That's right. You're damn right.
You know what I'm saying? And if I could make another point real quick, what you're saying is super heavy because nowadays is that the Jordans, right?
Gone.
Right. It's everybody's trying to get them J's, them Jordans. You know what I'm saying? And a few years ago, a brother died off of the because of some J's.
That's right.
And Michael Jordan, his response was, "I signed up to make money, not to worry about people dying."
That's right. That's damn right, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I also heard that Michael Jordan also has prison systems.
Right. Kind of.
He's an investor in the prison systems.
Right.
I mean, this is a round business for him. You get the shoes, you kill your brother, you go to jail.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to him, it's a moneymaker. And until we begin to understand this situation that we're in, is that we'll remember and wake up to once again who we really are, and that is, man, we're the power behind this country. We're the hot power behind this nation. So let's go on. We're gonna start talking about what it is, the code talkers, right? The code talkers were in the 20th century, well, during World War II, right? America, like I was saying before, America had joined the war in World War II, and they seem to have been losing this war throughout all the first part of World War II. The reason they were losing, one of the main reasons, is because the Japanese and the Germans were able to decode their secrets of where they were going to be, what they were going to attack, what they were going to do. They kept seeing that their codes kept being broken, and they couldn't understand why this was happening to them. They were continually losing this war, and they could never get the upper hand. Why? Because of course their secrets were being broken up. But really, come on, someone was giving up these secrets. Someone knew, and someone was giving it up. But they're never going to say that. But this is what was going on. So what happened is that America, they tried all different methods to try to get a secret code to be able to make this work, and it was a feeble try that they kept doing. In other words, they continually lost what was known back then as the Pacific Theater. It's funny, right? The Pacific Theater. Why? Because the Pacific Ocean was the center of where the war was at.
Right.
That's
right.
And it was Iwo Jima, I believe it was Iwo Jima that was one of the main places where this where this code seemed to have worked the best. And what this code was known as the what I tell you, the Indian code, the Navajo Indian code.
Right.
So what they did is that they went out and they looked for a code that they could use to be able to be encrypted that the Japanese and the Germans could not use, right? So let me go into some reading. I'm going to read something on this particular subject, and we'll go from there. If there's any precepts that you want to bring out, I'm going to read, and any precepts you want to bring out, you can break them up from here.
Okay. So like, if I could real quick, and again, this is the Navajo language.
That's right.
A language that has been restricted from these brothers for 100 years.
That's
so
right.
100 years, they were trying to get these brothers to stop speaking that language.
That's right.
They were only allowed to speak English.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So 100 years later, they found use to them. So they're like, okay, well now you can speak your language to help us out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, it's
before
true that they couldn't speak their language in school. They weren't allowed to speak their language. They weren't allowed to use their language for any reason at all. The Navajo Indian or any American Indian actually, they
Right.
couldn't speak their language, and that's nothing new. The Mexicans, we went through the same thing. In the schools, you couldn't speak Spanish.
Right.
You know, at school you couldn't speak Spanish. If you were caught speaking Spanish, you were suspended or you were punished
Right.
because of using your own language. That was one of the reasons that that the whole walkouts took place. One of the reasons was not only because of the miseducation and all that, but also because if we were caught speaking our language, we were discriminated on.
Right.
It was a discriminatory thing that was going on with a language barrier, that we could not speak our own languages, not the Mexican, not the Indian. We couldn't speak our languages because we were persecuted or punished for it. Go ahead.
So like, if I could also, this is the heavy point. It's like that's the same exact. The reason why we couldn't speak our language is the same exact reason why they used the brothers from Gad, you know, in the war.
That's
because what they didn't know if we were plotting up against them.
Right.
You know, we could be sitting in class plotting up against the white man, and they wouldn't able to. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't know if we were speaking our own language.
Con.
So that's another reason why they wouldn't let us speak our own language.
Con, that's true. That's one of the reasons here with us. I think for the Mexicans, the reason that they kept that from us is because they hated us, man. They hated the way we spoke. They hated the way we dressed. Because remember, the reason that they did that to the Zoot Suiters, it was very simple, just because of the way we dressed.
Right.
We were wearing a type of clothing that to them was offensive, or to them it was not of their taste. You know what I mean? To
Right.
come back and wear a Zoot suit was like to be you know, like from somewhere else. Like to them, it was something like, you know, completely out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, like if I could, I think they were just straight hating.
That's
You know
exactly
what I'm saying?
what
You
it
got
is.
some naval officers,
Right.
you know, coming back with, you know, from war, right? They're supposed
Right.
to be hardcore, but yet they're wearing Navy suits. You see the little hat they wear and all that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They seen us coming back. You know, seeing us all fly and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Getting the ladies. You know,
Exactly.
kicking it, chilling with our own people, loving life. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And then they come back. You know what I'm saying? And they just seen us. They hated us.
Exactly. That's what it really was. You know, because even our women dress nice.
Right.
You know, and they even hated our women.
Right.
You know, because of the way we dressed. The women always look nice. You know, Mexican women, they just look fly, man.
Right. Hell yeah.
They get all dressed up and they look fly. And you know what? The Mexican women love Mexican dudes.
Right.
They like
Oh,
you
yeah.
wearing a zoot suit and you were like, okay, you was on it, you know?
Right.
But the reason they hated us is because of our language, because of the way we look, because of the way we dressed, you know, and let's face it, that's what they do to black people too.
Right.
You know, nowadays they do that to black people because they hate the way they talk.
Right.
They think of, because in their eyes, they think they're badasses.
Right.
You know, oh, you think you're bad, and they go at you like that.
Right. When really that's just the way we are.
That's just the way we are, and you know that's the way Israel is. You know, we're those kind of people. We're proud of who we are. You know, we're proud of what we look like. We're proud of how we are, our way of our language, our culture. We're just proud people who love our culture.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with loving your culture. I mean, if you love Israel, you love being an Israelite. You love being an Israelite. You know,
Right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. But of course, you know, these the people that hated us, the white folks, man, they were jealous of everything we did.
Right. The way we used to live, you know what I'm saying? You know, before we got oppressed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Imagine how we would be then.
That's right. And you know that's the thing. That's the thing about it. And I'm trying to bring up a quote that Donald Trump said about the native Indian, right?
Oh, the Pocahontas?
Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
yeah. Kind of.
That's disrespectful, you know.
Right.
And just to go to show you know that these people are monsters, you know. After the native Indian, man, let me tell you something. If you think about it, everybody says that America saved the world from Hitler. Well, I would say the native Indian saved the world from Hitler's conquer, you know. Because of them, they were able to stop that axis, so-called axis of evil, right?
Right.
To stop that. But what did America do for the native Indian? They passed the Indian Removal Act. That's what they did for them. They put them on reservations. They passed the Indian Removal Act. They they're over there at what is it, North Dakota,
right,
taking their land, their what is that, their sacred land.
right.
And then of course Donald Trump going over there and verbally whooping their butts by calling, what did he say, calling her Pocahontas.
Right. We got like one. So like, if I'm gonna paraphrase it, he said we got one of your people in something in some office, and you know he's referring to her as Pocahontas. You know what I'm saying? It's just because she's a girl, and she's said to have Native Indian blood in her. That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's already making that stereotype.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And this was supposed to be, you know, an event to glorify the Native Indians for what they did, for the part they had. And he just went and he just threw them on, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And the thing is that same day that he said that was that they were honoring the Navajo Indian for that particular reason. Right. For the code talkers. Right. They were supposed to be honoring them for that that act that they did in World War II to help the white man in destroying the world, the axis of evil, right? And instead, what did he do? He went and called it Pocahontas. And that's why the war has got to come. That's why World War III has got to come. Right. Because this country is evil, man. Why? Who else would do that? Who else would how do you say? Who else would compensate somebody who has done so much with nothing but evil? You know what I mean? With something like that. So let me go into this code talkers, and I'm just gonna break out some of the information they have on it. And if you haven't checked this out yet, you know, code talkers, jump on the internet, Google, and let's check it out. So the code talkers are people in the 20th century who used obscure languages as a means of secret communication during wartime. The term is now usually associated with the United States service members during the World Wars who used their knowledge of Native American languages as a basis to transmit coded messages. In particular, there were approximately 400 to 500 Native Americans in the United States Marine Corps, whose primary job was the transmission of secret tactical messages. The code talkers transmitted these messages over military telephone or radio communication nets using formal or informal developed codes built by their native languages. Now, let me tell you something. They hired real Indians, you know, to do this job because no one else would come up with the code to keep secret what was going on, what the Americans were doing during that time. They had to go to the Navajo Indian and to these other to the Cherokee, the Navajo, the Choctaw. They had to go to these to be able to get them, and it says also including the Lakota, the Meskwaki, and the Comanche. You know, these are all these people, man. Native Indians served in World War II. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And they served in Vietnam. Right. They didn't want to use his Indian name, so they changed his name to an American name in order to be able to talk to him, because they refused to use his real Indian name to address him. And what they did, they addressed him with an American name. Oh, okay. That's how bad it gets, you know, where they won't even use our real names to address us. They'll give us these names that aren't even ours. You know what I mean? All right. And that's the problem with our people, is that we'll actually embrace that. You know what I mean? We'll accept it instead of being like, no, man, you know what? You're gonna address me by my real name. You know, don't address me by none of these fake names. But yet we'll actually stand there and we'll take it. You know, we'll take whatever they dish out, and we'll use that for our own selves. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Sloggy, if I could, that's just because they stripped everything from us. God. You know, it's like I even I seen a brother say that, oh well, you know, the reason I took part in it was because they said somebody was attacking our land. Right. This is my mother. This is where everything, all the seed comes from. This is all I know. So if they're attacking my land, then I'm gonna attack back. You know what I'm saying? But then he didn't think about is, why are they attacking your land? They're only attacking your land because the white man is in this land. And you know what I'm saying? He attacked somebody else with you know what I'm saying, knowing it was gonna backfire right here. But he don't care. It's not his land. His kids are not right here. You know what I'm saying? Right. His kids are protected. You know what I'm saying? Our people are the ones who have to suffer the repercussions of them attacking somebody. You know what I'm saying? Just because they want to.
That's true. And you know, what a lot of people don't understand that we've been going through that for such a long time. Like even us Mexicans, during the Spanish Mexican War, a lot of Mexicans joined the Spanish side,
right.
the Spaniard side. They were traitors to their own people.
Right.
And that's why it's important to educate yourself in what's going on, because even our people, betray us. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the problem, that we find these people that are Uncle Toms.
Right.
And these Uncle Toms are the problems. You got any precepts on Uncle Toms?
I mean, I got a list of them. So
let's go into some precepts.
Kind. And
this is how we know that the Lord let us know that this was going to happen to us, and there would be these people amongst us. There would be people like that amongst us that would do that to us. You know what I mean? Con, if you got any, read.
Okay. So one thing I want to throw in, it takes an Uncle Tom or a traitor to take down a nation.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? All the nations that have been taken down, they have been taken down from within.
Con.
You know what I'm saying? That's just something that
that's
that
true.
I wanted to you know what I'm saying, throw out there. And then one of them, it fits perfectly, is Jeremiah 2:30, chapter 2, verse 33. Why trimmest thou thy ways to seek love?
See, that's the problem with us in Israel today, that we trim our ways to seek love. What love are we seeking? We're seeking the love of our oppressor.
Right.
We'll trim our ways. We'll stop speaking Spanish.
Right.
We'll stop being who we are. We'll start taking on the culture of another man,
right,
and forget what we really are, just to trim our ways to satisfy someone else. You know what I mean?
Right.
We see it at our jobs all the time. We see how some of us, just because we get a position in our jobs, we begin to treat our people different, or we
right,
begin to act different, against our own people. And that's where that woman comes in from Starbucks, who wouldn't even give that gentleman the code to get into the restroom.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's where you trim your ways. That woman trimmed her ways just to be, to hold her position supposedly.
Right.
But she would give it to the next man who was a white man, but she
right,
wouldn't give it to the black man.
Right.
That's a perfect precept to understand that that's what happens to us. We trim our ways. We start siding with those that are really our enemies. Continue reading.
Right. Oh, so if I could real quick, her whole life she didn't think bad about Hispanics or blacks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She learned how to think about our people that way, like you said, in her job.
God.
You know what I'm saying? And in order to keep her job maintaining, doing what she's seen the people above her do, that's what she was led to do. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, she trimmed her ways, you know what I'm saying, to seek love.
God.
Or maybe she was gonna get a pat on the back if she didn't give him the keys.
Right. Dude, that's the truth, man. They expect to get a raise, or they expect to get something, and in reality, you get nothing.
Right.
You get nothing. You know what you get? You get fired.
Right.
That's what you get. You find yourself getting called in. Oh, you know what? We don't need you no more. That's what happens. Continue reading.
Khan. Therefore hast thou taught the wicked ones thy ways.
And that's what happens. They teach the wicked ones our ways. You know what I mean? They teach. What happens is like this code talkers. They taught ways. You know what I mean?
Right.
They use their language to help them out. You know what I mean? We teach the wicked ones our ways. We teach them how to make money. We teach them our food. We teach them, our everything we got.
Right.
They teach them how to play basketball. They teach them how to play football better. They teach them how to box. We got that. What was that Mexican coach that had that white boxer, that Russian? He taught them how to box. He taught him how to be the best boxer there was.
Right.
Taught him how to go against our people.
Right.
And he was winning. It was not till they went and put him down, but for a long time he was on top. Garcia, he had that white boxer, and he himself said, "You know what? Because there's money in white people. The white people want to see a great boxer, and that was Garcia who trained that boxer how to be a good boxer. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he trimmed our ways. He chose to show our people what it was. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there it is. Continue reading.
Oh, that's it on that one.
So as you can see, that's what happens. We trim our ways. We teach our enemy, our ways, man. And that's the problem with us, man. We treat our people bad, but yet we'll we'll treat our enemy better.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then we look down on our own people. You know, that's a shame to even think that we do that to our people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so what else you got? And so let me go back to here because I was going to mention, you know, some of the Indians that did this, some of the Indians that helped during World War II. You know, there's a whole list of Indians that did that. You know, the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Comanche, the Cree, the Meskwaki, the Navajo, the Seminole Indian. You know, these are all Indians who joined in the war to help the United States to win World War II. Because of these Indians was that they were able to take advantage and win the war of it would have taken a whole different turn. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like we were saying, you know, what did these Indians come back to? They came back to discrimination in America.
Right.
They came back to what? To live on the reservations.
Right.
They didn't do nothing for them. They didn't help them in any way. They didn't give them anything. It was not until recently, a couple years ago, that America decided to honor these people.
Right. So like it also, you know, they honored them a day after the day of Thanksgiving.
Oh, Khan, that is
You
true.
know, that's like a you know what I'm saying? They're laughing in their faces basically. That's deceitful right there.
Right, that's deceitful.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Why would they bring the good thing they done supposedly to them, you know what I'm saying, a day after Thanksgiving? You know what I'm saying?
Khan. And let me tell you something. Their actions, man, proved critical in several important campaigns in that Pacific War. You know what I mean?
Right.
They were the ones who actually won Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima was won because of the Native Indian Code. That's why they won that fight in Iwo Jima. And they are credited with saving thousands of American lives, American and Allied lives, man. That's some thousands,
right.
Man, probably hundreds of thousands.
Right.
It's probably uncountable how many lives they saved. You know what I mean?
Odds were playing against America and their allies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Japs had it all, you know, they thought they were all clever, you know what I'm saying? Thought They had it all figured out. It was like about 22,000. I read, you know what I'm saying? 22,000, and about less than 1,000 of them survived.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when there's like a gang of our people that live because of these Native Indians, like the only reason we were able to get them is because, you know what I'm saying, they couldn't break that code.
Con. And let me tell you something. The Native Indian, at birth, you know, as you can see that they went into the war and they went in fearless. They went into fight. You know, in Vietnam, the black, the Hispanic, and the American Indian were the ones in the front line.
Right.
We walked point. That's what it was. We were walking point.
Right.
And that's a fact that they were walking point. There was more Medal of Honors given to blacks and Hispanic and Native Indians than any other nation.
Right.
And I know for sure the black and the Hispanic, they were always in there, you know, because why? Because at least American Indian, a lot of them refused to serve the white man.
Right.
But us blacks and Hispanics, man, we're the first ones in line to go to war. Right. And help our enemy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if I could, I think that's where you know, back then there was the Army, you know, and the Marine, you know, have you heard of how the Marines go in first? I think that's how the Marines were formed. I believe it was by our people. You know, the ones who was going in there and serving first on the front line.
You know, I heard the story that the first Marines were blacks.
Right.
Right. Way back in the 1700s. And we'll go into that story at some other time, but I was talking about the Native Indians, how they were warriors, you know, even in their own tribes, they were considered warriors. The Aztecs also were considered warriors. You know, there was a story of how the Aztecs decided to rise up against the Spaniards, and it was because when Cortez went into Mexico, the Aztec Indians, this is a good story, and a lot of people should look it up because it's going to be interesting. I don't know if you ever heard it, but what happened is the Aztecs invade Mexico, right? And they didn't just go in there and invade. It took time for the whole invasion to take place, you know?
The Aztecs or the Spaniards?
The Aztecs. Oh, I'm sorry. The Spaniards went into Mexico, and they just didn't start the invasion. It took some time, you know? So there was this plaza, this place where the Aztec Indian would go and do a dance. you know.
Right.
And this dance would be done before as at a young age you were a teenager, and you'd go and you do this dance as a step into your manhood.
Right.
Before you became a warrior.
Right.
You would go in and do this dance and do this ritual.
Right.
That was the ritual of manhood.
Right.
And you would become a man. So they would go in there and they would do this dance, and the priest would be there, the high priest, and those young men that were about to become warriors, true warriors, would go in there and they do this ritual, and they'd give it all they had, right? Well, when the Spaniards were there, the story goes that that the young men that were about to go into manhood, they wanted to go in there, and they had made it up in themselves that they were going to go dance like they had never danced before, to show these Spaniards that they're who they were, like to show off, for to say, right? They wanted to go in there, and the story says that that they said, we're going to dance like we had never danced before, for these Spaniards can see that we are true men,
right.
in that sense. And they went in there and they began to dance with everything they had to become warriors. And the Spaniards, this plaza had two entrances, they say, right? It's a great story. I'm going to find it and I'm going to bring it up another day. But it had two entrances. What the Spaniards did is they blocked both entrances. And the kids went in there to dance, and they had no weapons. And when they were dancing, the Spaniards, what they did is that they began to murder all the kids in there. And they murdered all the kids that were dancing in there. All of them got murdered. And some of the elders that were there were getting murdered too, but some of them escaped, and they went out and gave the call that this was happening to their people. Right. And that's how that war really started. I want to call it La Noche Triste, but that's not Noche Triste. Noche Triste is another day, another time. But I'm going to find this story, and I'm going to bring it out again. And it's an interesting story. And the reason why I bring out the story is because the native Indian also had their warriors. And these warriors, actually, they did the same thing. They had their own ceremonies and their songs and their dances and their way of dressing. And they did all this also in order to go from a regular kid to becoming a warrior.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They did the same thing. It was like a stepping stone or a place in their youth where they would jump over to become men. You know what I mean? And so these warriors, I'm going to read the American Indian warrior tradition. This is a tradition that they had. And so let me bring it up. I'm going to bring it up real quick, and I'm going to read it to you, okay? It says, for thousands of years, American Indian men have protected their communities and lands. Warrior is an English word that has come to describe them. However, their traditional roles involved more than fighting enemies. They cared for people and helped in many ways in any time of difficulty. That's a trait that Israel has.
Right.
Israel has a trait where we help people. You know, what did the Mexican do when the Spaniard got there? He helped them. What did the Cubans or the Puerto Ricans? What were they known as? Not the Seminole. I lost my mind. I lost track of it. But they also helped Christopher Columbus when he got there. Man, they went out and helped him too. Took his boat that was sinking. Took all his stuff out, and that's a trait that we all have. The American Indian helped the Pilgrim. You know, the black man has always helped the white man.
Right.
You know, has always helped the white man. That's a trait that we have as Israel. Continue saying they would do anything to help their people survive, including laying down their own lives.
Right.
You know, that's another trait that's of Israel. You know, we'll lay our own lives for our brothers. That's a trait that the Isupk has.
That's right.
You know, we'll lay our own life for our brothers. That's the way Israel has always been. Warriors were regarded with the utmost respect in their communities. Boys trained from an early age to develop spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical strength. They would need to become warriors. Many tribes had special warrior societies which had their own ceremonies, songs, and dances and regalia that they wore. Usually a warrior had to prove himself before being asked to join a warrior society. It was a great honor to be chosen this way. And that's why those Indians who went to fight World War II, man, those were honorable people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? who knew that at the time of war they would even help these people to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's a trait that Israel has. And to be treated the way they did, to come back and be discriminated on, to be their land taken away, to be put on reservations, you know, that's shameful. You know, that's putting the American Indian to shame. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's what they do to us Mexicans. They put us to shame too. How? By trying to deport us. You know what I mean?
Right.
They put the black man to shame. How do they put the black man to shame? Same way, man. You know, by treating him the way they do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what happens. Go ahead.
It's like if I, it's all a, you know, like the Bible calls it a snare or a trap. You know what I'm saying? In a word that they use nowadays, it's all a trap, man. They put you in these neighborhoods that's drug infested. You have no choice, but to, you know, sell crack, sell drugs, sell your body. You know what I'm saying? If you're a female, you know what I'm saying? You have no choice other than to kill your brother. You know what I'm saying? To survive. You know what I'm saying? So what does that make us do? Well, that makes us want to, you know, look and see who's living right. If we're living wrong, then who's living right? And we see the white man, and we see that he's living right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Living off, you know, not check to check, living off, you know, account money, you know what I'm saying? His business money and all that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that makes us want to be like him.
Right.
It makes us, you know, since he got the power and the control, you know what I'm saying? We want to be like him. You know what I'm saying? When the Bible says we're supposed to be a special people.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what I was bringing out earlier is that, you know, when they came over here, they seen us and they judged us. Christopher Columbus or whoever came first, they judged us. They, you know what I'm saying? They had to come back. They had to go back to wherever they came from with a statement like, okay, these people we can take over, or we're gonna need more people. You know, and they seen us as a peaceable people, as the book says. You know, peaceable people. Why? Because we were very, you know, peaceful. You know what I'm saying? And the law, statutes, and commandments says that we have to be a separate people.
That's right.
So if we were a separate people from the get-go, then we wouldn't have been a peaceful people. You know what I'm saying? Which would have made it harder for them to conquer us. You know what I'm saying? But since we wanted to be like the oppressor,
that's right.
You know what I'm saying? I got the scripture right here. It's Proverbs 3:31. It says, "Envy not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways."
That's right. And that's what we should be. We should not be envying our oppressor. We should not be envying the person who has a higher position than us in our job. You know what I mean?
Right.
We should not be envying because he has a better car than us.
Right.
Or because he has a house and we don't. Or because we rent and they don't rent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Most of those people that are in those positions, man, they don't care about their fellow Mexican person or black or native Indian person. And when I say that is because I choose these people to name because they look at a white man, they're like, oh, you know, he could do better, you know, and they'll give that white man a quarter, $1 on the street, but they'll pass up a black man.
Right.
Or they'll say, oh, see that black man, he should get a job. Or how come that Mexican ain't working? You know what I'm saying? He should get a job. But they don't understand that it's not easy to get a job for us.
Right.
You know, most people can get jobs, but there's a lot of us who can't get jobs.
Damn right.
You know, it's difficult out there. And then when you do get a job, you find them paying you, you know, pennies, bro, like a misery. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're barely making it to pay your rent. You know, you're barely making it to put food on your table.
Right.
You know, people are scraping up scraps just to be able to survive.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just metals. You know what I'm saying? Soliciting themselves to pick up metal. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they have to survive. That's their hustle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And hustle doesn't mean you're doing somebody dirty. That's just the way you get by.
God.
You know what I'm saying? If you think you going to leave your people behind and get a good job just because you have a job as a government official or you know what I'm saying? So, then like you think that you're doing well off, that you can leave your people behind, guess what, man? You still Israel.
That's
you still going to suffer the curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter.
Damn right.
Whether, you know, you rich or you poor.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So don't think that you can benefit off leaving your brother behind. You know what I'm saying? When you're still going to suffer the consequences of disobeying the Most High, period.
Right. And you know what? That's what happens to our people. That's why you can see them out on the street, you know, like you said, picking up cans.
Right.
You know, they got those trucks that say, you know, they pick up junk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just trying to survive because, man, it's difficult to survive out there. You know what I mean?
Right. Hell.
And for us to discriminate against our own people, man, that's even worse. You know, because we might as well be, man, we might as well be in their position.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Kind.
For we can learn a lesson of what it is.
Yeah, right.
You know, and sometimes to come into to the truth, it helps because you know what? You see a perspective that you hadn't seen before.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that perspective is to have some compassion for your own people.
So like it's a I believe it's called being selfless.
Right.
You have no care of yourself, but yet you have care of others, which is something that the world teaches you to be the opposite of. The world teaches you to be selfish. All you care about is yourself. You know what I'm saying? You come into this truth and you learn without you even wanting to how to be selfless.
Right.
Like now you care about all these brothers more than you care about yourself. You know what I'm saying? But don't trip though, because that brother that you care about cares more about you than he does of himself.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what Christ came and teaches, the brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Of knowing the truth. You know what I'm saying? You can come in here and you can be treated as you would want others to treat you.
That's right. And you know what? We can see right now what's going on in Mexico. That I don't know if anybody's been keeping up with it, but some of the things that are going on in Mexico are ridiculous because that's our own people coming against our own people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And why? Because once again, the influence of America has struck our nation, of Mexico. And the influence of America has gone in there so deep, the greed, the wanting to have so much, you know what I'm saying? That now we have turned against our own people. They're actually dropping bombs in on our own people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when I say that, I mean it like that. Like they're flying with helicopters over places of Oaxaca and areas like that, and they're dropping bombs on those people who are protesting against what's going on there. And why? Because the government is trying to take over those properties.
Right.
You know what I mean? And who takes over properties? America takes over properties. Right. That's an American thing that they do. They go out there and what do they try to do? They try to take what's not theirs.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what's been spreading because this is like a disease. It's a virus. Their way of life, their way of thought, their character is a virus. And that virus, when we begin to pick up on that and we try to be like them, well, we're being infected with that virus.
Right.
You know what I mean? That woman at the Starbucks, she's got that virus.
Right.
The black man who kills another black man, he's got that virus.
Damn right.
Israel has we've been like that, but these people, they come against our nation. You know what I'm saying? Right. This is like a war. They're waging a war against your people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Damn right. So if I could, you know what I'm saying? If like let's say we about to go to war with what, Russia, North Korea?
God.
All right. What would North Korea think if North Koreans, you know what I'm saying, are walking down the street right here in America and randomly just start getting shot up?
God.
You think the war wouldn't have cracked off by now?
That's waging war on these
You know what I'm saying? Because a crime against somebody from another nation is a what's it called? It's like it's a
act of war.
Act of war. Kind of. There it is. The water. It's an act of war. You know what I'm saying? When somebody from one nation commits a crime against somebody of another nation, it's an act of war.
God.
You know what I'm saying? So what about all the Hispanics? What about all the Judites, the so-called Negroes that have been getting killed on streets? What about all the native Indians that got killed by the hundreds of thousands back when the Spaniards came and the English came? You know what I'm saying? God. Those crimes have gone unpaid for. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to have to pay for those crimes. And the Bible says it's prepared slaughter. Right?
God, for their children.
For their children.
God.
You know what I'm saying? Just like we're suffering for what our forefathers, for the crimes that our forefathers did, their children are going to suffer for what their forefathers did, which is the white man.
God.
You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing against the color of their skin. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm of white complexion too. But it's about the people that have committed crimes that against another people that have gone unpaid for.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's all it's about right there.
That's true. And let me tell you something that we continually see this happening throughout America, where these people are coming up against our people, because I'm telling you, man, when the black man gets shot on the street, and we've seen two more recently this week.
Right.
Two more recently this week. I mean, what is it going to take to see that that's an act of war against black people?
Damn right.
Because, I mean, it's just happening like out of nowhere. You're seeing another man get shot. Some of the brothers just posted up on my Facebook something that just went down with another brother who got shot. They pulled him out of his car and they shot him.
Right.
You know what? This is recent too. So when you see these things happening, man, I mean, you're seeing that that this is going down against all our people, the blacks, the Hispanic, and the
Right.
Native American Indian. So we should begin to understand that if we don't unite and we don't come together as one and try to deal with this problem in a way where we begin to understand each other and start to embrace our culture, man, we're gonna be dealing with this situation for a long time. You know what I mean?
And right.
So we have to start now because the white man is wicked.
Right.
The white man is wicked and he's doing wicked things to us, and that's why this war that's coming to America, coming to to the Middle East, it has to happen because
Right.
this place can't stand forever this way. Our people cannot be killed on the street all the time.
Right.
Our people
Right.
can't be deported, or they're not going to send all of us out. Before that starts to happen, the Lord's going to come and He's going to help with this problem that's known as discrimination against our people,
Right.
against the black, the Hispanic, and the Native American Indian.
Right.
And so our topic today was on the Native Indian, how they helped the World War II, right? How they helped with the code breakers to help America win the war by using a secret code, which was their own language, right?
Right.
Their own native language to be able to help with fighting this war, with fighting against the Japanese and against the Germans, And,
Right.
and like I was saying, the only thing that they gained out of doing this was more discrimination,
Right.
more hate, more suffering, more persecution. Even to this day, they continue living in that same condition.
Right.
They have not changed. You know what? At least blacks and Mexicans, when we're running around, we can buy a
Right.
house anywhere we want. But Native Indian, man, I don't know no Native Indians that live in my area.
Damn right. You're right about that. It's rare the Native Indian you run into.
I've never lived in an area where there's been a Native Indian.
Right.
I think I've never even gone to school with one. I mean, the black Indian, yeah, I've been with
Right.
many of them.
Right. That's
But
right.
like that Native American Indian, that Apache, that Cherokee. Well, there's black Cherokee, but some of them, man,
Right.
it's hard to say. You just don't see them.
Damn right.
They stay on their reservations. What are they? Most of them are drunks,
Right.
right? They accuse them of
Con.
being drunks. How could you not be a drunk
Con,
when you've been
damn
persecuted
right.
for so long? For
Yeah.
so many generations, you went through what you went through. Man, I mean, I don't blame them for being the way they are.
Right. So, like, if I could, not good thing you brought that up. I remember watching a class with General Hyman. I think it was Commanding General Johanna's Monday night show, right? And he was bringing out how the people, the descendants of the fake Jews, of the Jewish, how they did studies on them, and they were more vulnerable to to high blood pressure, to diabetes, to obesity. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So they tracked that back to the bloodline.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? That these people were oppressed for, a certain time, and that's the reason why they were, carrying on the stress of being, destroyed like that.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And therefore that made them more vulnerable to all them diseases. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And they were, how long did that last? That didn't last, nothing close to how long our oppression lasted.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? So just imagine all the things that we're carrying on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Other than the obvious facts that, we didn't know, right? So, I mean, our parents didn't know better, so they
Right.
didn't teach us better. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? That's like just something on the side, you know what I'm saying, from all the
Right.
oppression that we've been to. We've carried, although the slavery has been carried on unto this generation. Don't think that, those people that be like, oh, well, I wasn't a slave, forget about slavery.
Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying? That has been carried on, including that. The part that you're saying you weren't enslaved, so you don't carry nothing on. You know what I'm saying? That right there is Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
And you being destroyed of it. You know what I'm saying? Just like if these white people, that's what you call white privilege. If these white people saying that they have a reason to catch diseases faster, a reason to be destroyed because of Hitler, then imagine what do our people get? And we never see no reparations for none of that.
Right. And that's so true, man, because what happens is that most of the people that feel that way like you do, man, they're oppressed and they don't even know it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they think that they're doing okay. So many years of this, like I was gonna say, I hear this a lot. Like, oh, black people are lazy. All black people are lazy. That they don't want to work. But the reality is, if your ancestors would have gone through what they've gone through, man, I wouldn't be working either.
Right.
I'd be
Yeah,
like, man, I
right.
ain't gonna work. Man, I
Right.
already worked all those. My people already worked all that time,
Right.
and now you want me to continue working? You got to be kidding me. On the contrary, you should be paying me the reparations for what my people did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
The Mexicans, we for some reason we just continue working.
Right.
We get paid real little, but we're still there. You know what I mean? We
Right.
haven't learned our lesson. You
Right.
what they say? We're like the ass. Well, we're stubborn like the ass too, man.
Right.
We're mules, man. We're gonna continue, and people should consider, like you say, people should consider that all those years of oppression, man, it's like a syndrome
Right.
that follows with that. You're
Right.
not just gonna pull it. You if it's how they say it's in your genes.
Right.
If it's in your genes, man, that's definitely
Damn right.
in these genes. You know what I'm saying?
Damn right.
If you know how they always like white people always like to talk. Oh no, well he's like that because it's in his genes.
Right.
He's got this disease because it's in his genes. Well, you know
Right.
what? He's got anti-oppressor syndrome because I was oppressed all my life.
Right.
So now in this day, I just feel like I don't need to be doing anything.
That's right.
It's
lucky also, even if even when the Judites, right, before integration, right, when they were segregated, they black what's it called, Black Wall Street,
Right.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, when they did work, they're Salakia, when they worked hard, and made their own cities, what did the white man do?
Right.
Just bomb them, kill them,
Right.
steal. So
Right.
even whether you don't work or whether you work, you still going to destroy it. Like you might as well,
Yeah. They're gonna hold you. They're gonna keep you down anyways. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the reality of it. And that's why today we have to realize that all that we're going through, the Lord has put us through this.
Right.
And it's to teach us a lesson.
Right.
That we should wake up and not treat our people the way we treat them, because one thing about Israel is that we always seem to be we always go against our own brothers. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's something that we do. Israel goes against Israel, black against black, Mexicans against Mexicans, Mexicans against blacks, and likewise, the 12 nations of Israel seem to always go at each other's throats.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's that reason why we have to understand that there comes a time when we got to realize that we all went through something. And it's time that we realize that we are all one family, and that we have to begin to treat each other different. You know what I mean? With more respect, and not only that, but with love. That love that has us together. Because what happens is that we're falling apart.
Right.
And before that happens, we have to learn to embrace each other, because that's what's most important. At the Passover, I seen a lot of brothers, man, and I was just happy to be at the Passover. You know what I mean?
Right.
Happy to be amongst the black, the Hispanic, and the Native Indians. So many of them gathered there. Mostly amongst my black brothers, because the reality is, a lot of us Mexicans in the world, we wouldn't find ourselves like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like in the world, we wouldn't find ourselves hanging out with black folks. You know what I mean? Because it was almost like against our culture to do that.
Right.
There was a few black folks that used to hang out with us, and we'd be like, okay, well, that's cool, But as the way we do now, us Mexicans that are in the truth, a lot of the Mexicans that see us, well, you hang around with all the blacks, man.
Right.
That's what I get sometimes from my people. At work, I get that, because you with all the brothers.
Right.
And when they say you with all the brothers, I know where they're coming from with that, and I know, because, man, we're from there. You know what I mean? We ain't new to this. Go ahead.
So like, if I could, real quick, I was gonna say, if all the brothers you kicked it with were whitewashed, they wouldn't say that. You know what I'm saying? They're mostly like saying, "Oh, you hang around with other people that are aware of what's going on to their people,
right?
What's happening to their people." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And yeah, we're with them because they know what we're going through. There may be another Mexican, another Hispanic, right? But he don't care about what we're going through. There's some Hispanics that don't know about what we're going through. They don't see it the way we see it. But there's some that just don't care. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'd rather be with my brother. You know what I'm saying? It's like a brothers are gonna fight. You guys heard that, right? Brothers are gonna fight. You're in the same family. You're gonna end up having, some kind of confrontation. You know what I'm saying? But those are my brothers, man, and we're gonna get past any of that.
You know, Deuteronomy 6:4 states, "Hear, O Israel." You know, Israel, these are the 12 tribes. He's talking to all of us, you know. "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord." We all have the same God. You know what I'm saying? We are all one. We are all under the same Lord, you know. And that's the way we need to see the perspective of how we are, you know what I mean? As all one people, you know, there is no difference in any of us. But, you know, like once again, like I say, our brothers, our Mexican brothers, seeing that you're Mexican, you know, they seem to see us different, you know. And I say that a lot of the 12 tribes were all the same. You know, you start hanging around with another culture, right away they're quick to kind of like, you know, point out that you're hanging around with the different people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what's important to know, that you know, we're not all different people,
right?
But that we are all the same people. You know what I mean?
So, like, if I could, you know, I might as well just bring it out. It's Psalms 83. You know what I'm saying? Psalms 83:3. It explains why we don't know we're the same people, why we think of ourselves as different people. You know what I'm saying? And it's Psalms 83:3 says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
Come.
They have consulted against thy hidden ones."
Come.
You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why we don't know that we Israel. Salakia. Get the rest of it right now. Verse 4. You know what I'm saying? But we think we're a different people because, you know, because we were already here when the Judites came. You know what I'm saying? But all of that is in the Bible. All of that is historical events, historical facts that can be, you know, traced back to how the Hispanics or the Native Indians, how the Southern Kingdom got, so like the Northern Kingdom got to the Americas, and then you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying. So Psalms 83:4 said, "Come, let us cut the being and," you know what I'm saying. They have taken crafty counsel against our people, you know, and they have all united into making us, you know, and taking crafty counsel to make us stop being one nation.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And let me tell you something. We see that that crafty counsel has always been around, man. They've always tried to find ways to separate us. You know what I mean?
Right.
They found ways to separate us in neighborhoods. You know what I mean?
Right.
They do this thing of separating people through the neighborhoods. You know, San Fernando. You know, before it was all Mexicans, it was all native, because to them it was a better idea for us to be in conflict with each other than it was for them to be setting us up in nice areas. And you know what happens with Mexicans and blacks when they get together? It's nothing but, you know, either troubles or parties, either or.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're gonna get one or the other. Man, you know, when you get together when you put blacks and Mexicans together, man, two things are gonna result. You're either gonna fight or you're gonna get your party on really hard. You know what I mean? Right. Hearing the truth, we've learned that getting together, man, is nothing but party down, man. That's what we do. We get the serious, but of course, you know, we get our time and we like to party, man, because blacks and Hispanics, we party the same way, man.
That's
you know,
right.
we got the same thing. We got the same thing going on. We like to drink, we like to party, we like the music, and you know, we have a lot in common. And the sad part is that, you know, when you were in school, they always had that black on brown. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know, you went to one area of the school and it was all the black folks. You went to the handball courts and it was all the Mexican folks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
And the only reason that we met up was to buy weed from each other.
Right.
You know, that was the only reason why we would meet up, is to buy some weed from each other. That was the only reason why we'd be friends.
Right.
You know, but in the truth, we got to understand that you know, there's more than that. You know, the reason why we're together is because there's an issue here, and the issue is that we have a common enemy. Right. And that common enemy has come against the black and the Hispanic and the Native Indian, of course, and all the 12 tribes of Israel. Because if we look at Haiti, you know, Haiti, you can see the situation that they're in, right? The situation that they're in is a situation where they're having difficulty with just surviving. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And so, Lucky, good thing you brought that up. You know, all the Haitians, right? When the hurricane cracked off, it's Salakia. They came out and they came to Mexico, right? They traveled up to the border of Mexico and the U.S., right? Expecting the U.S. to let them in. You know, they came over here for refuge.
God.
You know what I'm saying? And they traveled all through Mexico to get to the border of the U.S., right? And when they finally got here, the U.S. was like, nope.
Yeah.
We don't want your people here.
But they're trying to bring all those people from South Africa.
Right.
They're trying to bring them over here. You know what I mean? But they don't want to bring in people that are really, man, not only the people that are suffering, but the people that they stole that money from. Because weren't they supposed to get some money together for them? To help build.
Oh yeah.
The Haitian country,
Right, I heard about that. Yeah, you're right about that. But also, it's just that we're a nation that's not desired.
God.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what the Mexicans are doing down there? They're exploiting these brothers,
God.
thinking that they're another people. They're making them work for pennies, just like how construction workers work over here, and they get ripped off for their labor, Salakia. That's what the Mexicans are doing down there to the Haitians, man. And we need to stop doing that. We need to, be a brother to that brother. If he needs, a place to stay, what I'm saying? He's down there because he's in need. He doesn't just want to leave everything behind. He's there because he's in need. And what we need to do, since we're in need also, is we need to be a brother to that brother.
That's right. That's right. That's right. In the UPK, that's what we've learned. To be brothers to people we don't even know.
Right.
That there are brothers. But let's say you just come into the truth and you don't really understand, you're going to find out that here, you're going to open your door to people that you've never met before.
Right.
To cultures that you've never understood before.
Right.
To people, people from the street that in the world, you would probably walk on the other side of the street or not go down that block. You know what I mean? You'd be like, oh no, I'm not trying to walk down that street. You know what I mean?
Right.
These are the people that before you wouldn't even consider. But here in the truth, we consider our brothers, people that we don't know. We're opening our doors and our homes to. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're housing with them. We when we go to the Passover, man, we're rooming in a hotel room with people that we would have never roomed with in the world.
Damn right.
Tell me that's not true.
That's so true right there.
But you slept in a room with a bunch of brothers?
Yeah, like so many brothers.
Yeah,
it's not my first Passover, so like it's not my first Passover that has been like that, It's like that it's gonna be like that every Passover. I stayed in the house with somebody that I never even met before. Right.
I just watched them but I went there. When I went there, man, I felt confident that I was staying with someone that I knew was gonna be a brother to me.
Right.
I had no second thoughts in my mind. Like it didn't even cross my mind where I was staying, who I was staying with, or what was gonna happen to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't even cross my mind when brothers stay at the house, man. I'm not worried about who these brothers are or what their background is or where they come from. But before, even some of your own cousins, man, you'd be like, man, what's up with this fool, You'd be like, this fool, what's up with him, man? Why did he leave this house in Mexico? Why is he over here now?
Right.
And hearing the truth, it's a whole different thing. You're confident that the brothers that you're dealing with are real brothers. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about Israel.
Right. A lot of us, if I could, a lot of us came from the gutter.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we, you know what I'm saying? Like I heard, General Muhammad says that we're going to give our life, not to the brothers that's working at the bank.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to give our life, we're going to dedicate our lives to make the brother eating out of a trash can's life better.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's brotherhood right there. And I'm going to bring out a scripture if I could real quick. I don't want to go off topic, but this is in Mark chapter 2. And in verse 15, right? And it came to pass that as Yahushua sat at meat in his house, many publicans and sinners sat also together with Yahushua and his disciples. For there were many, and they followed him. Right? Verse 16. And when the scribes and Pharisees saw him eat with the publicans and sinners, they said unto his disciples, right? So here's, Yahushua, Jesus Christ, and he's sitting with, a bunch of thugs and criminals, right? And so they ask him, they ask the Pharisees and they ask Yahushua's disciples, let's see what they ask him. How is it that he eateth and drinketh with publicans and sinners? You know what I'm saying? How is it that your master is eating with, criminals and sinners?
God.
You know what I'm saying? And in this verse 18, and the disciples of John and of the Pharisees used to fat Oslagium. Verse 17, when Yahushua heard it, he said unto them, they that are whole have no need of the physician, but they that are sick, I came, Salagia right there is saying, like, who needs a doctor? But him that is sick.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So him that is cool, he don't need a doctor. You know what I'm saying? But who needs a doctor? Who needs a physician? Somebody that is sick, man.
That's right.
Somebody that's sinning. Somebody that's a criminal, man. They need that. They need the physician.
That's
They
right.
need the help. Somebody that's doing well off, he don't need no help.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I just want to.
No, that's right. And you know what? That's why that's a good precept to bring up, because you know what? We're all sick.
Right.
And one of the things that we're sick of is we're sick from not trusting our brother.
Right.
We're sick from not trusting the black man.
Right.
And the black man's sick from not trusting the Mexican man.
Damn right.
Thinking that the Mexican man is after him for something, or us Mexicans thinking that the black man's gonna get us over, you
Right.
know, and not being able to trust in him, even though we live in the same goddamn neighborhoods.
Right.
You know, you go into Compton, Mexican and black. You go into South Central, Mexican and black.
Right.
You go into Pasadena, Mexican and black. Man, we live next door to each other.
Right.
Yet we don't trust each other.
Right.
You know, and that's why I bring up earlier the beauty of being in the UPK, right? That now you're housing with brothers that you never even met before.
Right.
The people that look like, you know what, man, this dude, like if my mom was to see some of these people, they'd be like, oh, hell no. you, man, what kind of people you hanging out with?
Right.
You know what I mean? Some of your family members be like, oh no, man, you know, you might be doing something wrong over there, you know?
Right.
They think you're doing something wrong because you're hanging around with brothers like that.
Damn
you know what I
right.
mean? And I'm pretty sure that some of the black folks, when they see Mexicans, they're like, oh, now you're hanging around with the Mexicans. What, are you selling weed or what?
Right.
You
yeah.
like, what are you
Trying to
guys
make some
selling,
money.
man? You trying to make some money? What kind of hustle you got going on there?
Right.
Because like I said, you know, the only reason blacks and Mexicans would hang out is because we were hustling something.
Right.
We were doing something, you know, that was up to no good, right?
So like, they also just real quick, you know what I'm saying? That's heavy what you're saying, because that's the only reason why hood niggas, you know what I'm saying, Salakia, or Vario niggas, you know, or Vario essays, they're not allowed to talk to blacks. You know what I'm saying? Because of politics, so-called politics, right? So if you're from a barrio and you're from a hood that is 2 blocks away, you can't talk to that dude. You can't talk to him, right?
God,
But you can make business with him.
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? You can get killed from your own hood for talking to them. But if you're making money off of them, then it's all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's wicked right there.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? That right there that's how you know we lost, and that we're the nation that needs saving. Ain't no Asian needs saving.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? We're the ones who need saving, but we cannot get saved by, you know what I'm saying, going into these armies, going into these militaries, you know, saying that we're protecting our land. Man, if you want to protect your land, start with your block.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Start with your block and your people, and then you'll see about protecting land.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you protect all this land, right? The Lord might just decide us to just take us up out of here.
Damn right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So if you protect your brothers in your nation, you know, at least you're gonna be in good standings with the Most High.
That's right, man. That's right. And you know, like I said, man, it's important to come into the UPK because this is where you learn brotherhood.
Right.
You know, this is where you learn what's important. This is where you learn that you know what's important is to be able to get along with your brother.
Right.
And this is the perfect place to see it.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? No other fake camp or no one else will teach you what the UPK teaches you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No one else does what they do. They bring them from all over, man.
Right.
House them all together and teach you how to be a brother to your brother.
Damn right.
You know what I mean?
Damn right.
Teach you how to be a brother to your brother. Your brother needs something, man, you can come out the pocket.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah,
if you eat, your brother eats. You
right,
know what I mean?
That's right.
And for a lot of us, like Mexicans, we're used to that, right? If I'm gonna eat, man, I'm not gonna eat by myself. My brother's gonna eat with me, man.
Right.
You know, like we're like that naturally. Like I've always been like that. Like if I'm rolling with you and you know I got $10 and you got $2, we're both gonna eat anyways.
Right.
You know, it's
right.
like that. And
Right.
so to be able to do that with people you don't even know, man, that's what brotherhood is, right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's real brotherhood. Be able to share with your brother who really needs it.
Right.
You know, because we know a lot of us, man. You know, they just not in a good spot. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of us, you know, my job is all Mexicans.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they hire one or two blacks, but they really don't wanna. They don't wanna hire them. You know why? Because they're wicked. You know, my own brothers are wicked. All Mexican brothers are wicked. And I've told a few of them, man, how come you don't hire black folks, bro?
Right.
And, oh, because they're lazy. Man, how you know that?
Right.
Because you say they're lazy? Because you don't even want to give them the opportunity? You know? But that's the way they are. That's the way they express it. And that's why we need more Mexican brothers to come into this truth, because they're, you know what? They've sold out to the same system that the white man has. You know what I mean?
Right.
They've sold out to that. You know, they're the sellouts, man. And like I said earlier, that woman at that what is that, Starbucks? Man, she's a perfect example of what we're talking about.
Right, damn right.
You know what I mean? She's a perfect example of what it is to hate your own people. You know, but she'll get mad because some white woman begins to go off on her mom because her mom don't speak no English.
Right.
And she's speaking Spanish. Some white woman tells her, hey, you know what? Go back to Mexico. You know? I'm gonna tell you, at my job recently, man. One of my folks, man, one of the people that I work with, man, not my folks, but one of the people I work with, you know, told one of some Mexican lady that you're an American now, speak Spanish. You know, and that's tough, man. You know what I mean?
You mean speak English?
Oh yeah, speak English. Yeah, speak English. You know, you're an American, I'll speak English. And you know, I haven't said nothing because it's not in my business to say anything. You know what I'm saying? But that's the kind of people we got to deal with. You know what I mean? And we're seeing a lot of white people going on black people because they hate them because of their skin color. You know, but they hate the black and the brown.
Right. That's right. You can't get past that right there.
Yeah, they hate black and brown. And you know what? In the Isupk, that's all we are.
That's
black
right.
And brown.
Right. White, no matter how much you want to be in with us, no matter how much money you give, you know, so you cannot be part of us.
It just doesn't work that way.
It's not your bloodline. And even if you in here pretending to be, you know what I'm saying, your spirit will bear witness. You cannot sit through 10 of these classes and still pretend you're Mexican.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But
you
also
just won't make it through.
Right, you will not make it through. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm pretty sure that these Native Indians, you know, they weren't all with it either.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But it just took what? It just took one of them to say, all right, for the other brother to be like, oh well, you know,
if he's going there,
I ain't gonna be the only one.
Right. And you know, the what we were talking about earlier, the code talkers, you know, a lot of those Native Indians, man, one of them jumped in the war, and then a bunch of them jumped in the war.
Right. Yeah,
you know, and a lot of them jumped in the war. A lot of them went and fought in World War II, you know, to be able to help with the coding of the code talkers in World War II. You know, that's what happened, man. Look, the Native Indian, man, they joined World War II by the dozens also, man.
Right.
You know, the Mexicans, they also joined. The blacks, we also joined. And we're the only ones that come back to the same treatment.
Right.
You know what I mean? We come back to the same treatment that we've always got. You know, when the Japanese during World War II, I've heard Japanese say, well, you know, we got our properties taken on and we got incarcerated downtown LA, you know, at the concentration camp. Yeah, but you got reparations, buddy.
Damn right.
You got your own community. You know, they gave back what they took from you guys.
Right.
The black man, it's been more than 400 years. They still haven't given him back what he's got.
Right.
Us Mexicans, we've been working here all this time, over 500 years. And we still getting the same treatment we've always had.
Damn right. And also, you know, they have family back from wherever they came from. You know what I'm saying? The Judeans don't have no family back in Africa.
They sure don't.
You know what I'm saying? If they do, then what tribe you from out there? What part of Africa? You know what I'm saying? And the Mexicans, you got family back there, but you know what I'm saying? That it's called you know what I'm saying? The white man has already exploited all the natural resources in that land, so nobody in that land is gonna be able to prosper. You know what I'm saying? So the white man already enslaved your people back home. You know, so that's why you in this land in the first place. If Mexico was doing well off, you wouldn't have came here for a better life. You know what I'm saying? But you came here for a better life. Why? Because the white man has already exploited You know what I'm saying? Stay where you come from. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
already exploited in South America, Central America. You know what I'm saying? It has turned them into third world countries. Even though a third world country is supposed to be a developing country that has no natural resources.
Con.
You know what I'm saying? When in fact now third world countries is everybody that's been exploited by America, basically.
Con. And you know what? And it's true, man. And that's why it's important that that we start to realize that we need to come into this truth, into the ISUPK. You know what I mean? And there's no better time than now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Get that black in, put in your time, get your name.
That's right.
And get into the ISUPK. It's more important than anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
And stay in this truth, man. Above all, we all go through something. We all get our little odds and ends here, but the most important thing is to stay in this truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Get off them drugs.
Right.
Get off that weed. You know what I'm saying? Get away from them hoes.
Put that gun down till you get your license. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't get yourself into any more trouble, man. Don't fall into the trap.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is.
Right. That's all it is, man. That's why you think they dropping guns off over there in Mexico?
Right.
How you think them cartels got those AKs?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The bulletproof vests, the grenade launchers.
Right.
How you think they got them, man?
Mexico don't manufacture guns.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But they got them.
Right.
Who sold it to them? You know what I'm saying? They're the same people who brought drugs into the U.S., man.
Right.
Those same people are the ones who's putting guns out there in Chicago? They were fighting pallets of guns.
Right.
You know, that same person is putting guns in your neighborhood. Is putting making girls think they need to dress like hoes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To be attractive, when our women are attractive regardless. You don't have to dress like hoes, man. You know what I'm saying?
Remember, they're doing that to destroy a certain people.
Right.
And that's the black, the Hispanic, and the Native American Indian. That's
right.
why they do that, to destroy our people. And let me tell you something. This time, this age that we live in, this dawn that we're in, this is for us to wake up and get into this truth and speak up for our people. That our children and our children's children will start getting educated in who they are and why they need to know this, because they too will begin to speak this that we speak, this truth. And this truth is important for the survival of our own people.
That's
because
right.
if not, we'll become a dead race, like all the other ones before us, man. We'll forget who we are. When I say dead race, my dad was the dead race. My grandfather was the dead race. My great grandfather was probably the dead race. Why? Because they forgot who they were.
Right.
They embraced the Spaniard culture. They embraced the Catholic culture. They embraced all these cultures that are not our cultures. Man, it's time to come back to who we really are and to start to realize that we may educate ourselves and re-educate our children the right way. It's time for that re-education. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's time to stop the breeding of lies in our children, because that's what they go to school for, man. They go to school to learn lies.
Right.
And then in return, they grow up to be those same people, man. Those same people like that girl at Starbucks who hate on their own people.
Right.
That's why it's important to come into this truth. Man, don't wait another second, man. You watch these programs, you keep in touch with ISUPK, and you know that this is the truth right here, man. You need to come into this truth, you need to sign up, and you need to start lifting your voice and become a man. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
become a man who's gonna come and stand up for this. This is the new revolution right here.
That's right.
This is the new revolution. These are the new people. These are the new Zapatas. These are the new Black Panthers. These are the new Magonistas. These are these people that need to wake up. This is the people that are going to educate our people on the 12 tribes of Israel, that we are the children of the Lord, that we keep the law, statutes, and commandments, that we are those people that the Lord's going to come back for.
That's right.
You got any more precepts for me?
Oh, Salakia. I had one at Jeremiah. Salakia. The one that they're saying that in a land which thou not knowest.
Did you find it? And that's just that's just us letting you know, man. To stay in touch always with ISUPK, and we're here every Wednesday giving these classes. You know what I mean? Re-educating our people, re-educating our brothers and sisters into this truth that we need to embrace. That's for the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native American Indian, man. It's time to lift that voice, man. It's time to get ourselves going once again. you know, because we were a dead people, but now we're awake, man. We were a sleeping race, but now we've woken up from this. You know what I mean?
Kind of.
And it's time to continue. You got anything else?
Let me see real quick. I'll bring out this one right here. You know what I'm saying? Come, like the brother was saying, you know, come join the men, you know what I'm saying, and women of the ISUPK, and you know what I'm saying, and enjoy this brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Like Psalms 33, 133 and 1 says, "Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity."
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You will only find that in the ISUPK, man. You start by putting on all black, lacing up your boots, and you know what I'm saying, come to class, and then you'll end up at the next Passover.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how it all starts, man. Then you have a gang of memories with brothers, you know what I'm saying, that are your brothers. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing.
Right, man. Well, we're gonna end the show today. It's already 9 o'clock. Man, that show it went pretty quick. You know, we're here, the ISGPK 125th Street, heart of New York City, coming out of California, the Cali camp right here. Officer Kazayad and Officer Kasharwan. You know, thanks for joining the show. We're here every Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Join us next week once again. And for now, that's it. Israel.